Good day, good people. It's AT Malone, the first of my name because the second is already here. If you haven't already, please like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell for more videos from your boy. Now, this week's Freestyle Thoughts is inspired by a conversation that I had with my son after his playoff game last night, which they lost by 4 points. It was a winnable game, guys, to be honest with you. But if you have played sports, if you are a parent of an athlete, you know those things happen. But during the conversation, what I was telling him is this. It does not matter how you performed at the beginning of the season, even at the middle of the season. The thing that people mostly care about is how you end your season. If you finish strong, if you are able to go all the way to the championship, and even if you make it to the championship and you lose, guess what? Nobody really cares about the grind and the effort it took to get to the championship, because their primary focus is going to be on who came out victorious. That is a harsh truth and a reality that we all have probably experienced, either in sports, in the workforce, or place of employment. When you get hired, right? Nobody cares about how you got hired. If you had to go through multiple pods, they only care about the value that you added to the company currently. And even when you depart from that company, right? You want to leave a good, lasting impression. You want those people to miss you so much that they feel like they lost something very special to them, very important to them. So the thing that we have to realize, and we have to make sure that our children understand, is you can bust your ass as much as you want, but if you do not finish strong, nothing else that you did before that even matters. And that's the thing that my son is going through right now. He had an incredible season. He scored a whole lot, got a lot of rebounds. I mean, if you follow this channel, you see his highlights, the work that he's been putting in. But guess what? If you do not show up when it counts, none of that shit matters at all. He had the worst game of the season yesterday, and y'all won't see no highlight video because there was nothing to highlight. And I'm a very real person and I shoot straight, right? But it's a good lesson for him to learn that, you know what, I can't take my foot off the gas. I gotta keep going hard. So now he gotta sit, on the sidelines instead of actually participating in the playoffs in order for him and his team to go to the championship. But it's a good lesson that he needs to learn, because I had to learn it too. I've been in his same situation, and this is why I can speak to it, because I've lived that experience before. So just make sure, guys, that whatever you do, whether if you're an athlete, if you are a employee, that you make sure that you leave that lasting impression. And remember that nobody cares about the beginning. They only care about the end and the end result, okay? You wanna make sure that you finish strong no matter what. If you're tired, if you're fatigued, if you're out of breath, it don't matter. You want to make sure that you leave that lasting impression. I also tell my son this. I'm like, listen, dude, when you enter that gym, you need to also make sure that people recognize who you are. And if they don't recognize who you are, then you ain't put in enough work. And the same goes for whenever you are entering your place of employment. If you walk through those doors and people are not greeting you, saying what's up to you, then you're not creating enough of an impact within that company. Okay, you can say, oh, well, it's not about popularity, yada, yada, yada. It don't matter. I'm telling you the truth. If you want people to respect you, they need to know who they are respecting, which means you got to put in a ton of work consistently and get the job done. All right. Well, that was my freestyle thoughts for the week. I hope you guys enjoyed that. And now it's time to move on to the main event of the afternoon. We are on The Richest Man Who Ever Lived, King Solomon's Secrets to Success, Wealth, and Happiness. And we are finally on chapter 14, titled defeating the enemy of happiness and success. And of course, you know it's going to start off with a proverb. It says, pride goes before destruction and an arrogant spirit before a fall. And that is Proverbs 16:18. Now we're going to move on to the attitude that precedes a fall. Now, the one attitude that caused the most devastating consequences in both your personal and business life is pride, also referred to as arrogance or conceit. It's present within all of us. It's destroyed the lives of individuals, unraveled families, undermined corporations, and caused the fall of nations. It can creep into one's spirit almost unnoticed. It's an attitude that all of us must deal with throughout our lives. We confront it every day in one way or another. When we recognize it and deal with it, we can keep it in check, neutralizing its destructive power. When ignored or nurtured, it can grow like a cancer. Now, this is 100% facts. And since I was speaking on basketball, a couple of weeks ago, my son's team was waiting to go on the court because the team that was playing was in overtime. And there was this one kid that was just giving this other kid so much work. I mean, blocking his shots, stealing the ball from him. He kept scoring on him left and right. And that kid got so mad, he ended up getting ejected from the game. And that his team ended up losing because of it, because the kid got a tech, and then the other team went to shoot free throws. They made the free throws and ended up winning by 2. And that is a prime example of what pride can cause you, because when you are dealing with somebody or you're dealing with a situation and it's getting the best of you, pride can take over and cause you to react in a emotional space, right? So you have to be mindful of that, because it could also get you killed. How many times have we seen on social media these road rage incidents, which is unnecessary? Somebody cuts you off, you get mad, get out the car with your gun, and you're not even knowing what type of weaponry that person has in their vehicle, and you step up to them and they see that you got a gun, and then they put 2 holes through your ass, right? Why? Because somebody cut you off, because somebody almost hit you. Now, if you got insurance, you shouldn't really care. Yeah, it might piss you off. You might have family in the car, whatever have you, but is it really that serious to where you're gonna jeopardize your life? I would say absolutely not. So you gotta make sure that you keep your composure when it comes to certain things that make you uncomfortable, that piss you off, so you don't react and allow pride to take over your decision making, okay? Now, pride is often subtle. We don't even know we're being influenced by it. It was pride behind Solomon's downfall. In spite of unlimited power, wealth, and wisdom, he nearly lost everything he valued because of pride. Solomon knew that pride could bring about his downfall. He wrote, "Pride goes before destruction and an arrogant spirit before a fall." Yet pride is such a cunning and implacable enemy that even when you know its destructive power, you can succumb to its seductive call, okay? Now, Solomon knew that pride was an issue, but it almost took him out. It almost took everything away from him, right? And a lot of things that we do, we know what the outcome could potentially be. This is why, guys, when you know the difference between right and wrong, it's all on you how you choose to, navigate and make your decisions based on it. So if you know that if you are put into a particular situation that pride could get the best of you and you can succumb to it, it's best to stay away from it. Sometimes you got to neutralize yourself. You got to isolate yourself, because you should know you at a certain age, especially in adulthood, right? At least around 25 years old, you should know who you are. So you should know, okay, I shouldn't go to this place because it's this type of environment, this type of vibe. And if something goes down, I know exactly how I'm going to react. I do it all the time. That's why I stopped going to hood clubs, guys, because I know it brings the worst out of me, right? This is why I don't hang out with certain people anymore, because they would bring the worst out of me, and my pride could take over in certain situations and I would act out of character. So you have to make sure that you neutralize that pride within you, because we all have it. Hell, Solomon had it. So just make sure that you do not allow pride to influence you and cause you to cause danger to yourself or anybody else. All right. Now, you can't beat an enemy you don't understand. What does Solomon mean by the words arrogance and pride? He's talking about a transformation that takes place in our heart. The Hebrew word is derived from a word that means swollen or high. A proud or arrogant person has a swollen ego. He or she thinks they are better than others, more deserving than others. He tends to believe that he is solely responsible for what he has achieved. He takes credit for the good things in his life and blames others for the bad things. Now, don't you guys hate when, let's just say you're at work, right? You got assigned to a project, or you voluntarily chose to take on a project because maybe you found a solution to a problem that nobody was even thinking about, right? You came up with the solution or the process. You went and pitched it over to your manager. Your manager gives the green light on it. And when it is executed, guess what happens? The manager takes all the credit for it. Why? Because he or she does not want to be shown up by their subordinate. This has happened to me so many times working for so many different companies, guys. It's at least happened 5 or 6 times throughout my life. And that shit pissed me off. But I did not act out of character, because I could not jeopardize my future with the company, that paycheck coming in, and I had to take it on the chin and learn from it, right? And in some certain situations, I was like, man, I'm gonna get the hell up out of here, because if this is what the culture is, I'm not a cultural fit for this. But you also gotta be professional at the same time. So yes, it sucks when people take credit for things that they do not deserve, or if you, let's just say you introduce somebody to other people that would help propel their career in certain things, and then they try to act like, oh, well, I've known this person for so long, but they forgot that maybe you introduced them to a particular group of people that help get them to where they're currently at. I've experienced that shit too. And I just now at 40 years old, I just shake my head, man, because at the end of the day, people can put on what type of masquerade that they want, right? But eventually the truth comes out and they will get exposed. It does not matter how much you try to hide from it, because your pride has taken over, but the pride can never defeat the truth, guys. But you also got to remember, keep your composure. Even though people are taking credit for things that you worked hard for, you put them in that position, you can't allow that to take over your thought process and cause you to act erratic in any kind of way, all right? Now, pride is not limited to any economic or social class. It's found among the rich and the poor, the educated and uneducated. Its root cause is self-centeredness. We want to be the ultimate authority in our life. Deep down, we want everyone else to meet all of our needs, desires, and expectations. We act as if our needs, desires, and expectations are more important than those of others. If you ask a group of people if they've succumbed to pride, the majority would say no. The tragedy is, if you don't think you have a problem with pride, then you will do nothing to overcome its influence in your life. Now, we're going to get a little bit nerdy here, because this is why people enjoy Dragon Ball Z so much. And I know you're probably like, what the hell do you mean, AT? Well, we watch Dragon Ball Z because of the Super Saiyans, y'all. Yes, the Super Saiyans. And we can also say some of the other fighters like Piccolo, Krillin, Yamcha, you know, so on and so forth. But we really focus on the Super Saiyans, Vegeta, and Goku. And Goku is the most prideful, and he should be the most prideful because he is the prince of these Saiyans, yet he was unable to be as strong as Goku from time to time. Well, shit, the majority of the time, right? And when you look at these Saiyans, they're a prideful group of people. They're always trying to test themselves, and even if they look at an adversary as being stronger than them, they are not going to back down. They are going to continue to fight, and they get stronger after each fight. So Vegeta, in my opinion, is the most important character because it shows that his pride has gotten him killed. His pride has allowed him to even get to Super Saiyan level. If you remember, he became a Super Saiyan because he couldn't be a Super Saiyan. And he got so damn mad that he became a Super Saiyan, right? He was always chasing after Goku. That was his motivation because he had to be better than Goku. He was the prince. He was not going to allow a Saiyan that was supposed to be low tier to be top tier over him. And that's why we relate to Dragon Ball Z so much, because as human beings, we are very prideful. We don't like anybody to show us up. And if that happens, it bruises our ego. It causes us to act in a negative way from time to time, unless you are, you know, mature enough to understand that, listen, maybe I just got to work harder, right? Maybe they're working harder than I am and I need to step my game up. But since most people are not self-aware, they're not real with themselves, and they live in delusion, we allow our pride to take over, and we look at it as, you know, hate, like we can't stand that person, instead of turning that into a positive thing and having that self-awareness and saying, listen, I just got to do better. And that's exactly what Vegeta did. He continued to train harder. I believe he trained harder than Goku. I don't care what anybody say. But he did not allow that to continue to defeat him. And he eventually got to Goku's level. And I say that to say this, guys. And I'm ending it here because that's the end of what we're working on Tuesday content this week. Is that pride is looked at as a negative thing, but you can turn that pride into something positive, because sometimes your pride will not allow you to quit. Pride is something that most men must have if they know how to use it in a positive way. I hate losing, right? I am a sore loser. My pride will not allow me to take that L and just sit in that L. No, my pride is going to take that L, and then I'm going to sit there and reverse engineer it and figure out, why did I lose? Why did I miss out on that opportunity? And I'm going to go back to the drawing board, right? I'm going to retool, and I'm going to come back better than ever. So when that opportunity presents itself again, I'll be ready for it, and I will turn that L into a W. And that's what we got to do, guys. You can utilize pride in a positive way, but most people use it in a negative way, and it just causes their own, you know, undoing, their own destruction. And when it's all said and done, their pride ended up being their downfall. So you can't allow that to happen. All right. Well, that's all I got for Tuesday content. I hope you guys enjoy. We will hit part 2 next week. Don't forget to like the video, sub to the channel, and I'll catch y'all later. Peace.
Feel like they trying to box me in, so I keep a small circle around me, so fuck friends. I kept it real out the gate, these other cats pretend. Reigning supreme is something that will never end. So now and then,